players in a digital world.
A Jewish perspective.
A very talented storyteller.
With ideas. No
A
time.
Jewish perspective.
Genius. Absolute chaos.
A Jewish perspective.
By breaking the rules.
Things fall apart and then start again.
Jewish perspective.
Unfiltered.
Unfinished.
Undeniably.
A Jewish perspective.
Come on, listen. Trust me, it'll be worth it.
A Jewish perspective.
Today's guest. I don't know the whole dialogue. Today's guest is none other than Harav Yisroel Kasowitz, newly crowned rabbi.
Don't call me that.
Too late.
Please.
It is already his official
Everyone,
title.
No.
That is the be all and end all of this show. Is that Kasowitz is Harav. I don't know how you're so comfortable. I can't. Sorry, new couch, new studio. For those of you who haven't noticed. Okay, so welcome.
I walked and Azachanan was finishing moving.
Still not
Big
moving.
boy,
There's nothing else.
Apartment.
There's nothing else in this entire apartment.
We were chavrusas, and my claim to fame is that I got a car while he was still in yeshiva, and so now he has an apartment. So we're seeing who gets the other first.
All the firsts. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Yisroel is. I was trying to think of all your possible titles.
Well, I already have one. How many?
You're Harav.
Okay.
Duh. You're also drummer. You're also
I play drums.
pianist.
Let's not. Oh my gosh. Okay.
technically, by technicality, the fact that he plays the piano. You're also really good with cars. I'd say so. I'd say he's good with cars. The point is, this is a man of many hobbies.
Many hobbies. That's true. That's
Like
fair.
myself,
Yes.
have explored the wonders of hobbies.
Man of many talents.
Man of many talents and many skills acquired through tedious effort. And he joins us here today to inquire the question, why did you do it?
Do what?
That's actually a really good question. I'm proud of myself for coming up with that. Yeah. What? Sorry. Definitely not scripted now. Why do you think you have so many hobbies? Before I explain why I think I have so many hobbies, why do you think you have so many hobbies?
Well, I could name each individual one, and I can tell you why I do it. Like, I don't know if I've thought about every one, but I could come up with something on the fly. Like, for example, I drum because I wanted to play an instrument, and I had no patience to learn notes. And the only instrument that you don't really need to learn notes to get started was the drums. The idea that I have to, like, sit there and learn all these lines and pay attention to stuff for longer than 5 minutes was so boring to me. And I knew that, and this applies to piano also, actually, for me, that if I knew that if I spent time trying to do things properly and go through the whole process of you gotta learn the A and the C and then I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. It wouldn't go nowhere, and I wouldn't care enough, and that would be it.
So you learned drums out of lack of patience for anything else?
I'd say it's for sure one aspect. I could go into it. I'd have to think about it, but that is definitely one aspect, for sure.
Maybe I didn't say the question the way I thought of it.
I play drums right now because I'm good at it. It's a cool talent, and
Right.
I get
have it as a skill.
I get a lot of
as a talent.
energy. It's therapeutic.
Right. But I'm saying, like,
What inspired me
What's
to
the word?
start?
kind of. Was that your first hobby?
No, definitely not. I'd say my first hobby was definitely Legos.
I forgot
By
about
far.
that. I forgot a couple things to add to.
Let me go through the list of stuff
of
that
hobbies.
I do.
He's also a Lego master. He's also.
I dabble in model trains.
I was trying to figure out a good way to say that, but
Yeah.
that you could just make it normal. Sure. I was gonna come up with some weird.
I have a model train collection that's worth as much as my first car.
What?
Yeah. For the first
Your
car
first
that I
car
had,
wasn't that good.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great. It's a car though, which makes it sound cooler.
That is true.
I remember that car. No AC. I did a whole road trip with my first car. I bought it in
You
Minnesota.
did the road trip with that?
No, I did a road trip. I bought it
road
in Minnesota, and there was a guy had it from Alabama. It had over 200,000 miles. I needed a car, A to B. I didn't need a car. I wanted a car, A to B, just whatever I could get for a few $1,000s. It had no AC. The transmission, for those who don't know, it's the thing that shifts gears, was dying. It had a head
Today's
gasket.
episode of Learn How to Build a Car.
It had a head gasket leak, which basically means that all the fluids just burn away over time. So one particular fluid I had to refill every single time before I started the car, which is not a huge deal in the summer. But in the winter, or when it's raining, when it's freezing cold outside, and your hood is literally stuck to the car, and you have to like wipe off. Not only do I have to like scrape off all the ice, whatever. Dude. And what's ironic is that it doesn't have air conditioning, so in the summer it's a pain in the butt to use. But in the winter, when you don't need AC and it has heating, there's a whole bunch of other problems.
We weren't sweat when we did that massive trip to Crown Heights from Wilkes.
To Crown Heights?
You did a round trip with me to go to the IL for my birthday. Beginning of this year.
I remember that.
I was gonna ask you when it was. I was wondering why like what was the problem? I guess it was hot.
I remember that.
It was hot in the AC, and that was.
It was hot, but
we were supposed to get back at like 7 latest. Like, yeah, we'll be back before dinner.
We did not get back at 7.
No,
Not even
11.
close.
And I paid him to do that.
For context, Elchanan had a birthday, and he was like, I want to go to Crown Heights to get some food. So I was like...
Okay, I wanted to go to the IL. I was being Chassidish. Also, wanted to have a party.
Oh, that's right, you went to the aisle first.
I went to the...
Okay.
I went...
You say. What happened?
I went to the... Okay, it was... In the car, it was me, you, and Morty Emmer.
Right, because he needed a ride to Crown Heights.
So I split paying you with him. Kind of. He paid for something. I don't remember what eventually was the math out. So we went to the IHL. So I was like, okay, we're going to go to the IHL first, then we'll go to Crown Heights. What was it, a half hour away from the IHL?
It's like 45 minutes.
Morty was like, I was like, oh, by the way, we're going to the IHL. And I'm like, I guess I didn't tell him. He's like, what, we're going to the IHL? I don't want to go to the... I was like, oh, shoot. So you dropped me off at the IHL.
It's coming back. It's coming back to
You
me.
went back to Crown Heights. Dropped him off. Did you do anything in Crown Heights?
No, I came straight back.
And then you came back.
And I'm driving in. It wasn't. I don't think it was rush hour traffic, but it's Crown Heights traffic. It wasn't clear.
It was
clear roads.
brutal. I wasn't even driving, and it was brutal.
And remember, my car doesn't have AC, so it's not super hot, but it's hot. I don't have air conditioning, so I have the windows down. Oh, and another problem with my car is because of a head gasket leak. If I stopped too quickly, it would shut off. So
thank God that didn't happen. Otherwise,
I
we
learned
out with a very different.
I
story.
learned how to combat it and whatever. Whatever, and it would start right back up. Like, I wasn't worried about it in theory, but whatever.
So then,
not a great car. Not a great car.
Good car for adventures, though. If you want to come back from a trip with a good story,
there's a lot
take
of good
that
stories.
car.
A lot of good stories. That's true. That's fair.
So then we went back to Crown Heights. Well, then we were at the IL. I finished IL.
Elchanan got dropped off at the aisle in luxury. Not in luxury.
I got chakras. I had like a coffee and some cookies. Took my time. Went to the IL. Came back out. Still waiting for you. Then I was like, oh, impatient. Like, oh, I need to go. And he's like, oh, you're finally here.
I went and came straight back.
Did you go to the IL?
No. We went straight. I wanted to. That was part of the reason. I was like, okay, fine. I'll go to the IL. So
I don't remember, but I definitely said you should. There's no way I didn't say you should go.
But I think part of it was you were getting cranky.
No way. I don't get cranky. I don't need that out there. That doesn't need to be public. I don't. I
have no character flaw. My name is Elchanan Greenbaum.
whatever. And then we spent like forever in Crown Heights too. We had like so much stuff to do, and we're busy getting it done. And it was just like
That was fun though. I had a lot of fun, especially towards the end. Because also at night when it gets
that
colder,
night was cool. We had a nice jam. We went to Walmart.
got some.
At
more
that
stuff.
point, I think it was like
You
11.
spilled sunflower seeds all over my car.
I did spill
I
some
remember.
stuff. I cleaned them up though.
Most of them.
All of them.
Nope.
I literally took out the.
Oh, you did. You
paneling.
later. Later you did. Later you did.
Yeah.
Not at the moment. You did later. You're right.
No,
Yep,
I
yep.
said I was gonna clean it.
Yeah, you did,
eventually,
and you did.
And I did.
You did. Eventually.
Honestly, I've been keeping my word. I told Ari Labor by Yossi Brownson's L'chaim that he asked me like, "Oh, you have Meiser?" I'm like, "I'm getting paid on Sunday." He's like,
And
what?
and
And I paid him.
nice. Good.
I didn't pay him. I donated to his trip. I didn't pay him. I didn't owe him anything.
Achanan gives us Meiser.
I give his Meiser to the boys.
You give Meiser. You're
I also give Meiser. Dude, it's not Chassidish.
It's not Chassidish.
It's a 100% selfish investment. I am testing God. The second I started making money, I'm like,
I gave this guy
I'm
$10.
banking it.
I expect 100 by next year.
You know they say, right? Tzedakah is the one thing you could test God on to get the money back,
I've definitely heard that before.
right? So I said, whenever I start making money and have consistent Meiser, I'm challenging God
Where's my
on
paycheck,
getting
bro?
money back.
Yeah.
So
I hear
far, I think he owes me like. Okay.
That was fun.
Well, okay. Back on point.
Yeah.
He's a car guy. He does cars.
I had a bad car, and
Amongst-
it forced me to learn stuff about
Yes.
cars. Yes.
You had two cars because you had that car, then you also had a truck.
Okay. Here's my car.
Story.
It's not very long.
The
It's really
timeline.
not. It's really not.
The
I
car.
bought a truck from a friend of mine that was complete garbage. Complete garbage. And especially in Pennsylvania, you need inspections. It was rusty, whatever. My friend, who had this truck for a while, he did a lot of work on it. It was almost ready to run. To make a very long story short, I fixed it up a little bit, paid a friend to do the final touches. I sold it. It broke down. Not even before the guy drove it home. He was supposed to pay me, blah, 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 whatever. I didn't really do much with that truck. I learned a lot of lessons. I learned a lot of life stuff, but not so much about cars, per se. Then I bought my sedan in Minnesota, and I was at I have friends in Minnesota. They're a really cool family. I think I told you about them one time. 10 boys, no girls.
Yeah.
They own a farm. Their parents are Amish. We're Amish, whatever.
You went there for something, right?
For the summer, for this Pesach.
Summer and Pesach, yeah.
And they're very into their truck. They're country boys, so they're very into their trucks. So one of the guys that I was working with, one of the brothers, and he had his truck and he was doing a whole bunch of work. So I learned a lot from him. He's like my mechanic. He went with me to check out the car. He told me like, oh, that's that, whatever. He taught me a little bit, but that's the extent. Like I had a really, whatever. I had to figure it out. That's the whole story. So I'm not a professional. I'm not a mechanic, but I have some knowledge.
There's a little part of your manhood that you gain once you get a car
It does feel very
that I have not achieved yet. That you definitely have. But just owning a car, suddenly you're just like, I can go anywhere.
Yeah, you have an apartment though. See, that's the. You
Which
have a
means I
house.
can
You have your own
stay
house.
here.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't go anywhere. No, it's different. It's different. This is not really manhood. This is just like an adulthood thing.
It's both. I'd say it's both. I agree.
Well, this one I'd say more because this one I found. I'm like running kind of.
You have your own. You have a job. You're being consistent. You found a place. You take care of yourself.
I think it's tough though. I think recently.
You want me to start naming my? Go through the list of stuff that's wrong with having a car. And,
No, but
That's really
once you start like trying to live, and not just enjoying life. No, that's not the thought. No, I take that back. Wherever you thought that thought was going, I was incorrect.
you're wrong. Doesn't matter what you think. You're wrong.
No, I was wrong because no matter like that thought. No, that was not the right wording. The point I'm just trying to say is that for the past 8 months, I've been trying to get busy. And I'm just starting that now.
Right, I was gonna say because one of your things you say consistently is I have 5 hours a day that I work and I'm kind of bored, but I'm working, and then the rest of the day flies by in 5 minutes. On that trip, when I took you to Crown Heights, on the way back, that was when you introduced me to John Bellion.
Ah.
That's how I found out about him.
One of my many converts.
That was MacGyver.
That was MacGyver, another billionaire, as we are called.
Billionaire.
Yep,
That's cute.
That is the coin
That's
term.
very cute.
But yeah, that's a music standpoint, which you are very into. I'd say you have a very, I don't want to say religious music taste, but you have a very like spiritual music taste. That's the right word.
I don't know if okay.
Do you get why I think that?
Yeah, I do.
Care to expound?
I have a very intense personality. I have a very I'm also very emotionally in tune. I don't know how to say that.
Socially, emotionally aware.
Not emotionally aware, not emotionally mature. That's something I have to work on. But
Yeah, no one's
but
emotionally
emotionally intelligent is what I was thinking of. Very spiritual. When I was making those faces, the background between you caught me just in time, because I've been trying to become more religious, whatever you want to call that.
Sure.
So I try to limit my non-Jewish music listening because it's one of the more spiritual stuff. It's a very very sensitive subject. It can really mean a lot. So I've been trying to limit listening to that sort of stuff, but there's sometimes there'll be some songs where I'm just like, okay, whatever, I have to listen to that. Like his latest album, I was like, at least once I gotta see.
Gotta know what it's like.
I didn't like most of it,
That's
but there was one song. This is too good not to at least save and maybe listen to once when I'm feeling really sad or something. I need it.
Is it why? I have a love-hate relationship.
I told you that.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
I have a love-hate relationship with that song now.
Why?
As much...
Born to be a dad. That's me.
That literally stopped me mid-sentence. I was like, oh man.
Took a second. Click.
Jeez. That ruined my entire sentence in my head.
I'm so good at that.
Whatever, we'll just move on.
You have a love-hate relationship with the song because...
Oh, yeah. Because as much as it's been so popular, I'm like, oh great, he has a really popular song. I know why it's popular, and I don't like that.
Which is? Luke Combs?
Because it's very pop-oriented. It's very just... I mean, I get it. It's
repetitive? What's...
No. It's just... Usually, he tries to bend the edges of your taste with his music. He's said that, multiple times.
Yeah.
When he makes a song, he's trying to get you to, oh, what is this? And you'd be like, no, I don't like it. And then you're like, oh, listen to it a couple times. And you come to appreciate it.
Yeah.
That one was just oh, this is going to be a hit. Literally, Shmulik, my roommate, he was just I showed him the song as it was being teased, and he's just oh, this one's going to go crazy. And I'm like, yeah, it probably will. And then it hit top 3 on a chart, viral 50 USA. I was like, yeah, of course. I mean, it's a beautiful song. The first time I heard it, I was at work, and I was just froze. But the other songs are better. Let's just say that.
Right.
Anyways, back to you. Do you consider yourself an artist?
I don't know what that means. I do art. I am very, very creative. I consider myself very
That was going to
creative.
be my next question. Do you consider yourself creative?
Yes.
Then-
Yes, for sure.
Because then... Wow, now I just went a whole dialogue about wait, so what is an artist? I guess an artist is just... What is an artist? What do you think an artist is? I'm blank.
Well, it goes back to what you were saying before about musicians. Am I a drummer or do I play drums? Like the term itself implies that you do it professionally, or you do it for a living, or you do it with some sort of purpose. I don't
You
know.
think artist is a career or is it occupation?
Again, it depends. The word to me, the word implies this is a title, which is kind of it's almost irrelevant to me, because if you're being an artist truly, then you'll be creative whether you're officially whatever it
Right.
means. So I could say that I'm an artist, I could say that I'm a drummer, I could say that I'm a pianist when I'm really not like great at them. So it all depends on how you look at it. It all depends on how you want to define the term. I think I'm very creative. I think I have a lot of ideas that are cool. I sketch. I have a very diverse way of how I express myself, because it's all artistry is really a form of expression. So like I'd say the thing I'm best at is really Legos. Like you can give me a pile of Legos and I will create anything. You give me anything, you give me the right pieces, not even the right pieces. You give me enough pieces, I will make it look
Something.
like I will make
Some
something at all.
That is true. I saw that in action, guys. That I can testify to that.
Like some artists can they have a pencil and a paper. You can make
anything.
anything.
Well, that is the level of proficiency I think every young artist strives to, right? If you go into a certain artistic field, generally your goal is to just be able to flow through it.
Yeah, the less you have to think about it,
The less
more
complex and the less like
the more
not the less complex.
the more it's an expression,
the more expressive it is. Exactly.
as opposed to a.
So I would say an artist is there is a massive fly in here. Don't worry about it.
It came into to note. It was noticeable at the perfect time. Like Khaled stopped speaking, and then it was like.
Well, okay, artist is another name for identifying something, and then identity is a whole nother concept, technically. So technically it's just an identity thing, and that's how you identify yourself.
This got deep real quick.
Boom. And then that just goes anywhere. So maybe it's not, artist isn't the word I should use. It's just creatives. Because that's just like a mentality, that's like a way your brain works. Like I think, whether or not you're an artist, but some people just have creative minds. Like Hila Polachenko, I was like, oh, you should come on. I'm like interviewing Jewish artists. And he's like, I'm not an artist. I'm like, yeah, but you have a super creative mind. And I'm just like, I didn't take up that opportunity as much as I should have. Should have tapped his brain for more than what I did, but maybe looking back. And
you know what I want to see? I want to see a Mr. and Mrs. Hillel on the podcast.
If I can get that, that'd be next level. Back to the point. Or actually, if I start with a question, then I can immediately cut to that. So, the next thing is that I'm trying to figure out. Now that we're wording it as creativity and having a creative mind, what do you think makes a creative mind Jewish? Nailed it.
You're gonna have to elaborate. What do you mean by that?
I thought I made a good question. No, no, it's fair. Because we both have consumed a lot of art, especially nowadays, where entertainment is like borderline art, borderline just entertainment. And a lot of it, like there's so much of it that's not Jewish, right? So what would it take? Now that gets into specific fields. What's the feel like once I figure out how to word this question, I'll be able to like ask every
Let's
Jewish
put.
creative I come across, and I'll be able to just immediately tell them
Let's start with this. What do you mean by Jewish?
the truth. There's a truth that we as Jews know in the world that every person who doesn't know about our faith doesn't know. Right? There's a truth. We know God created everything. We know why we're here. We kind of know how the world works, very generally, not specifically. We don't really get it, but we know to some extent.
We have some idea of the rules
Exactly.
that God set up.
So, what is the Jewish purpose of art?
So I'll tell you what I hear. When you say, so really what you mean, at least from my perspective, this is what you mean when you say what makes the creative mind Jewish. Is what does the creative mind do, or what is the creative mind accomplishing that makes it godly?
Keep going.
There's a difference between Jewish or difference. You mean godly.
I mean, godly.
What makes the creative mind doing things, creating things that makes it godly? That's what you're asking me. Not what makes it Jewish. The Jewish has
Well,
a lot of
obviously.
definitions. A lot of definitions you get to say Jewish. That's tough. That is,
Yeah.
It's tough. It's easy and it's tough because you could do things that are obviously godly, even if they don't look like they're godly, or even if you could say that people are being fake about it. There's always the idea of do the right thing until it's for the right reasons. There's also case by case basis.
Obviously.
Right? Like you could take the same idea with something like sports. This is a very relevant thing for me that I learned, that I'm happy that I went through this stage in my life where I went from playing soccer as a sport that I play now. I know hating on soccer, a lot of people like to do that, but
Based off what I think our audience is, I don't think this audience will be disappointed in the fact that you play soccer.
I've said that too many times. They're like, "Oh, you play soccer? You're not American."
I doubt this audience will be disappointed in that.
I went from playing soccer as a way to show off is not the right word, but it was very self-absorbent. It was, okay, I'm just playing this now because this is what I do, or
It's an ego
whatever.
thing.
Very, very surface level stuff. It went from that to doing it for exercise and the way I play. So I guess I'll give you an example. I play goalie. That's my position. I have asthma. I have a whole bunch of stuff that prevents me from running long distances, whatever. Very, very hard to...
Yeah, me too. It's called my legs.
Yes!
Anyways.
Excuses aside, when someone would score on me, it would be very, very annoying. I would sometimes curse. I'd find someone to blame it on, etc. Like immature stuff. But now that I'm in a different headspace, as a result of being in that different headspace, I'm wearing tzitzis, I'm wearing yarmulke, and it's like second nature. Like, duh, of course. But when someone scores on me, I'm like, because we're playing it's all yeshiva guys, so they're all my friends. So when someone scores on me, I'm like, that was a great shot, good stuff. The only time I'm a little annoyed is when either whatever someone cheats. That's when it's like, okay,
Obviously, but that's like called for.
But what's the point? What makes it godly? What makes drumming godly? If I'm playing to a non-Jewish song versus a niggin, that can make it godly. Like that's a way of making it godly. But again, that's more obvious. Like,
Yeah.
okay, duh. Do you want to elaborate on what you mean by that a little bit more?
On that point,
Yeah.
that it triggered thoughts that I can actually kind of explain, because right, you said you could make drumming godly by just playing a niggin,
Playing to a niggin, yeah.
but I'm trying to figure out, because I think art and creative things are, I don't know if it's the closest, but I feel at least for me, I feel closer to God when I'm in that zone, when I'm in that space. I think it's connected because that's what he does. Like, I find a lot of similarities to someone's creative process to the way God created the universe. Like, I've been to Uri Shurim sometime, and he's like mentioned like, oh, explain like Rita Sayalem be like, I do that when I'm trying to come up with stories or a melody, or like it's the same brain, right? Chachal das. A lot of that brain, what's a good term for it? Order of chains, as it's called. Seder Stashlos, but it's in your head, right? Each person is their own individual world, right? They say if you kill a person, you kill the entire world. If you save a person, it's if you save an entire world. Because essentially, our makeup is the way the world is made up. Not because it's the same things, but it's the same levels. It's the same steps to get to existence. So we can do that again. So God created the world and the universe and all of existence through one chain. That chain now exists in us. We use that chain every day. We use that chain every day to live. That's how we exist. Is we use chachma das, all the emotions, all the brain, all the attributes of the mind. And then when you make something, you do it again. And that whole process happens again and gets put into another thing. So, in my mind, every work of art is just part of that chain. I think I discussed on the first episode. As much
that no one listened to.
I don't listen to. That's why I'm saying it again. That
it's so unfortunate.
In all of art, there's godliness somewhere. And I'm trying to find out how to keep it visible and how to make it apparent and how to make it and how to not lose it to my attributes. Right? Because my attributes are just God's attributes. When you put your attributes into the art form, it could be so diluted that you miss the whole chain. Is anything about what I'm saying making sense?
So I have a slightly different understanding of of the whole idea, but it's close enough, which is that we're created in God's image.
Right.
So to some extent, we are a little. We're not gods. I don't think that's the right usage of that idea. But we have our own ability. We have free choice. I think a lot of art is a lot of creation is. And creation is another thing. That's you put in that category. God created the world. We create art. When we're creating, lost my train of thought.
We are created in God's image. That's how you started.
We're created in God's image, and we have the ability to do different stuff. What were you saying? You were saying that there's a...
The God chained to the art through us.
We have choices. That's what I was saying. We have choices. A lot of art is making choices, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. 100%. I think art at its purest form is I don't know, completely subconsciously, but it's the flow. You just go. You just do stuff. Like I know on piano is the first thing I really experienced that Legos also to an extent. Where I'm just doing stuff. I'm not even thinking about it. Rollerblading, another one of my hobbies, is I do for exercise. But you start off, or at least I started off, and it's really hard. You got to pay attention to everything. Things are very intense. Things are very rigid. And the more I do it, the better I get at it. The more I just subconsciously I cross overs. I can go backwards and forwards straight away, like it, and I'm not even thinking about it. Doesn't whatever, just going. With piano, I'm fine. I'm starting to get to the point where I can just play notes, and my fingers just find themselves, and I can close my eyes and just play the nigget, and add my the chords are different, and I add my own little situations, and I just go. So what that comes down to really is, or one of the things it comes down to is free choice. You just make the choice. You make the decision, again, consciously or subconsciously, to do whatever that is, whatever form of artistry you're doing. So, again, what you're really asking is, how do I make it godly? How do I keep the godliness apparent? How do I keep it? How do I not take that away?
Because there's two kinds of Jewish art, right? Godly art.
What do you mean?
There's one that's been passed down through generations, right? Nigunim, or paintings of Rebbeim, or like the
Stuff that's
art is obviously godly. It's been, holy people have touched it in some way, and it's it's godly. And then there's the other godly stuff, which honestly I connect more to usually, which is it's just a godly person that made it, and therefore they imbued themselves into it, and therefore if you can tap in to, you have to like reverse engineer where the godliness was when it was created, and then you can extract it from there.
You can make that argument about everything. Hashem created everything.
Right.
So even a non-Jew makes something that's beautiful. You could say anyone makes anything God, like on that level.
Right.
So like I'd argue for. I mean, this is a bit more nuanced, and I'm not so educated in the field. But when it comes to music specifically, it's a very, very delicate subject, because you're connecting your neshama with sound and with stuff that's on levels that I don't understand. With art, are you looking at something that's more godly because someone is more holy? Maybe, because your neshama is literally connecting with the music.
Right.
How does that work with something like art? How does that like physical, like writing, drawing, stuff like that? So there's different stuff. I don't know. Again, I'm not so educated in the subject, and I really want to learn more, because
that's why we're talking about it.
With music specifically, where does that go? So I don't want to give my 2 cents on that. I think music is a very delicate subject.
Music, 100%.
But I'll say about more physical stuff, images, stuff like that. How do you make it godly?
Well, that's one of the accomplishments I really want to do, is because film is a combination of image and music and audio. So, in my opinion, it's like the ultimate art form, because it has all the art forms in it. Every single, not almost, I'm pretty sure, 99% sure that all art forms can be used to make a film.
What do you mean?
Give me any art form.
Drawing.
People
painting.
Sketch up. It's an image.
Okay.
It was probably sketched before it was shot.
What do you mean shot?
Like, before it was captured on film, someone drew it.
Before it was shared? What do you mean?
Before it was shot on film, before it was captured on the camera.
Why? Hold on. Before that, before it's caught on camera, it's when someone looks at it.
Someone drew exactly what they were going to shoot. They're sketch artists.
Okay.
To come up with what the shot should look like.
You're talking about movies.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Films use every art form, and then you have an end product which encapsulates all of them.
Got it. Got it. I'm on board now. Got it.
If anyone could just figure out, because I think, to get straight to the Jewish stuff, Jewish movies are a lot more entertainment than art. I think Jewish
They're
movies,
hard to come by.
Yeah.
Truly Jewish movies are hard to come by.
Right, but the ones that, the ones that we were allowed to watch as kids.
So none of them. I just want to point out, at least from my perspective, that I think saying that movies, films use every art form is a bit of is a big statement. I don't agree with that, but you could say it uses a lot of art forms.
I can prove you wrong. I think.
I think we should agree to disagree on this one.
I think in the process of making a film, every art form is used.
What do you consider art?
Any form of creation.
You use every form of creation in the process of making a film?
Because you're imitating life.
To an extent, but you're doing that with every art form.
No. I know, but you're capturing life on camera.
You made a statement. Every art form is used in the process of producing a film. I don't have that thought developed. I don't have a proof in my head of which one you're not using. But
if anyone thinks they can prove me wrong, try me.
I'll think about it later. I'll come back to you if I think of anything.
I'm pretty confident in this. I'm pretty sure.
Can be used or is used? Can be used. It has to be because some people just
has been.
Okay,
at least once. Someone has used it.
It's you see where I'm going with this? It's weird.
You're trying to find the language.
Nuance. I'm trying to find the nuance because could anything be used in a film? I think so. Is it used in every film? Obviously not.
It can and has been.
Maybe.
I don't know if there has been a film.
You could find a way to fit it in. Maybe.
I don't know if there has been okay, here's where I think people will try to prove me wrong from. I don't think that there has been a film that every art form was used for the making of it. There's not one film.
Okay.
That every art form
I hear.
Could be. It's entirely possible. But not that I know of.
Okay, I hear you. It's not a developed thought. You've clearly thought about this a lot. I have not. So I'm gonna plead the fifth on this one. For now.
The meticulous intention of a film, if you hear the people who made it and you see how it's made and you hear the people who talk about it and it's just there's so much
but there's a
creativity.
Huge difference between. Okay, this is really petty. Actually, you said every, and that's what I'm getting stuck on.
Right, it said every.
It's a lot. There's a lot. I'm totally on board with every. That's very petty. It's okay. Fine, I get the idea though. The point still remains.
The point.
What's the point? A lot.
The point is, there's a lot of art in a film.
Yeah.
There's a lot of intention. There's a lot of creativity. There's a reason why. At least for me, this is from 100% personal experience. I don't know if this is the average moviegoer's experience of movies, but it 100% is for me. You're living in a different dimension for 2.5 hours. When I leave, when I stop watching, I take it with me. As a kid, I used to watch Disney films, right? And the funniest thing to me, it's how ironic I am as that this is what I'm into. Because as a kid, my family would have a movie night. I'd be like, no, I'm not watching. I'm chassidish. I'm not watching the movie. I'm not kidding. I don't know.
Why though? Was it just because that's what you were told by your rabbi? What was the thought process?
It's just that's where my heart. I was just it's a no. No one ever told me not to. It's a family movie night. My friend was like, "Oh, let's go watch a movie." I'm like,
"So what was the thought process then?"
I'm a kid. I don't know. Was there a thought process?
So the only reason I would see anyone do that as a kid is because that's what they were taught.
I don't know what. I can't remember what inclined me to do that. It could have been. I don't know. It could have been the only thing that's stuck with mine. It could have been my use of video as a kid. When I'm the oldest, so when it was just me, my parents. I only know this because I've seen videos of myself watching this. My movie night was either one of the old Gem videos, Yisroel Boys Choir's concert videos. Rebbe videos that was all I watched.
In other words, what you were taught by whoever that you don't watch Geish movies.
Right.
You watch the Chassidus stuff. And if you
Also,
watch
actually,
movies,
I think I know what I got it because my friends, my classmates, used to watch like Green Tech and like all those Jewish movies. Didn't watch any of them, by the way, as a kid. Not one. Didn't watch Agent MS as a kid. I didn't like all these things that we watched on buses and camp. It's the only place I watched them was on buses and camp. And I guess that's where it got like if we watch a movie, I'd be like, nope. My sister got into Frozen, and I was so against it.
oh no.
I don't think I've ever watched the first one
I
ever.
have nostalgia from Frozen, but for an entirely different reason.
I have never seen the first Frozen. I saw a lot. I saw it on ice, unwillingly, kicking and
Against
screaming
my
against
will.
my will. I remember that. I have that memory very vividly of being like, "Oh, Mommy and Bubby are taking the kids to Disney on Ice to Frozen. Tati's not available. Shoot, what am I going to do?"
None has a license.
What?
How did you end up there?
Where?
By the
show?
Yeah.
Because my family went. My grandmother took us.
Got it.
I didn't want to go.
I thought you were gonna say. Never mind. I thought you were gonna say that you were forced to drive your family there.
I was 7.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind.
This was not recently.
I mixed up the two stories. Okay.
Now I probably would have wanted to go see it, just because show business is cool to me.
Frozen is nostalgic to me because I didn't watch Frozen, not because it wasn't Chassidish to watch movies for me.
Because it was girly.
It was I don't care at all about Frozen, but
guys.
but we had an old TV in the basement, and my sisters played it over and over and over and over again. Eventually, I watched the whole movie at least a few times, to the extent, and this is more a personality thing, where I remember the lines. This is a game I played with my sisters all the time. Like, when Shabbos will be, whatever, and then so we'd play out not the whole thing, but a lot of the movie, and we'd choose characters, and we'd just go through the lines.
Yeah.
Quite fascinating.
But see, that's the point. The power of a movie to affect that many experiences in life. And I'm just like, if you made a Jewish movie that did that, like I'm a nerd, right?
Self-identified.
I am a nerd. There are crazier nerds than me. There are so many who are like, that's their life. That's all they do. All they do is attempt to make their life as much as they can like the world that they love so much. If I like when I was a younger bucker and I was trying to and I had that versus trying to be connected to Hashem and the Rebbe, I'd be like, if only I had that kind of drive and that kind of insane motivation to be involved that much. And I'm just like, but I have a thing. There's a thing that you could be involved in so much. And it's acceptable. And it's normal and you should. It's the right thing. It's the right thing to do. If I could get that energy, move it there, it'd be... I know how I got this energy. I got it from watching that one movie or reading that one art piece, one form of what we'd call now content. And it would just... I mean, as a kid, you're more what's the word?
Influenceable.
Not influential. Yeah, something like that.
English.
Yeah. Words. So I guess that's why it was easier as a kid versus now, but still.
So what do you think about movies now? Because we got the childhood, you were whatever in the younger the single digit years you were influenced by whoever. This is not what we do. We don't watch Goyish movies. And that was what you were taught. That's you could correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds
Essentially,
like that's for whatever reason that's what you were taught, and that's why you didn't do it. There wasn't really. I mean, you're 9, you're 8, you're 7. Like how you're not really old enough to have a properly developed opinion. What happened after that?
After that, I went to yeshiva, started living by myself. Now, I was the firstborn. No older brothers, no older sisters, no other influences.
Same.
Right? So I had to experience everything for myself, which is not easy. I grew up in a school with 3 kids in my class. I had very little experience with anything else.
Very relatable.
Anything else. There was nothing else. I grew up on shluchos, 3 kids in my class, didn't see them after school. No, but no, there's nothing else. We went to Crown Heights every month, every 2 months. Like, go visit Bubby and Zeta. That was it. Yeshiva happens. If anyone has ever been to yeshiva, you know, you have to go through some stuff there. It just happens.
You're automatically traumatized from the second you walk into any masifta ever.
Something's gonna happen to you. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully you come out better for it, but something's gonna happen to you. You're gonna change, which is the point. I get it.
You're going through puberty, so it makes sense.
You're going through probably one of the grossest periods of life. I don't know yet. I'm still in it, so.
Me as an experienced lifer, yeah.
As possibly maybe one stage further than that. That is the grossest period of life.
So far.
So yeah, eventually at some point I just hit movies as like the thing I did.
You don't smoke, right? You don't do smoke.
I don't smoke. I don't do drugs.
Drinks.
I don't what?
Drink.
I drink
alcohol.
Not intensely.
Meaning, it's not a problem for you.
Yeah, it's not like I'm not like, oh, I drink. I'm just like, yeah, I'll drink. Like versus like if you offer me a shot or you offer me some beer, I'll be like, yeah, sure. If you offer me a blunt or a joint, I'll be like, no, thank you. Or I'll probably be like, no, because you're probably high and be like, here, take it. And I'll be like, no.
To be very clear. Okay, so you're in yeshiva. At some point, you watch a movie and you watch another movie.
At some point, you go crazy.
Yeah. You need an escape.
You need something.
Yeah. Movies are one of the escapes that...
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got that. And I got kind of popular with it. I was kind of like... Because I also had a social thing because I only had 3 kids in my class. So I was also bad at groups of people.
Okay.
So...
It became your thing that you had the movies? Like what?
It became my thing that I knew movies. So
okay.
Home Masifta, same group of people. That's a whole social thing unto itself. Yisroel's Masifta, I was like, oh, no one knows me here. I can be anyone. And I just took advantage of the fact that I was at Crown Heights and I wasn't in the dorm. I stayed at my grandparents' house. And I have to say that's probably my most popular year.
You were the cool kid.
I was kind of not the coolest kid. Shalomka will fight me on that in the days.
You need to have Shalomka on here for sure.
Shalomka was the coolest kid.
I can't wait to see the Shalomka.
I was 2. I was number 2.
The Jewish perspective of Shalomka, I can't wait for that.
Well, he's starting his own podcast. And when he gets that going, we're going to do a merger.
Oh my gosh. Have the 2 Ruddles. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Next.
No, we're going to do a...
That's crazy. Okay.
But, yeah. So that...
You're the cool kid.
I was the cool kid
yeah?
who knew movies, and we could go and watch movies in my grandparents' house. And then, yeah, I blame my cinephilia on a lot of things.
Big word. Big word.
Yeah, when I first read the word, I was like, what? That's a word? That sounds wrong, but it's okay. It's very different. A cinephile is a very different concept from what it sounds like.
That's not where my brain went, but that's where it is now.
That's because I read it. The first time I heard of the word, I was reading it.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And
okay, I can see it.
It looks wrong. CINE phile, I think. And I'm just like, what other word ends with phile? And I'm like, oh, that's not that bad. Anyways, yeah.
So, but what I'm really trying to get at is,
Yeah, what are you trying to get at? I
What-
just gave you my entire backstory. What's the point?
where do you stand with movies now? Because we have the first half, which is no movies. Why? Because you were taught it. That's what you do. Eventually, you realize to some extent, or your headspace, whether it was conscious or not, switched to that's BS. I don't care, or I don't care,
Yeah.
or a combination of both.
Something like that.
I mean, it doesn't have. You don't have to, like, if you're not comfortable, you don't have to answer where you are now as far as your personal, like where you're actually at in regards to what you watch. But where's your headspace at? Where would you like
In regards
to
to
be?
what I watch,
In regards to movies, yeah.
like as a consumer, not as
Yes, as a consumer, not as a
now I get what
producer.
you're trying to get to. So if anyone who's ever lived with me will definitely attest to this, and has like lived with me multiple times, has like tried to watch things with me. Anyone who's tried to watch it with me should know this by now. I watch things based off mood, for the most part.
Okay.
I try to watch something that is relative to the mood I'm in. Like, if I'm feeling happy and joyful, I want to watch something that will make me feel more of that. If I'm not feeling so good, I want something that is sad, but will make me feel like if I'm feeling not good, I want something that represents that and can change it.
Interesting. Okay.
And then sometimes I'll watch things because I want to learn from it as a filmmaker myself. Like, some things I'll watch because, hey, I
so it's
said
like
you should watch
educational purposes.
Educational purposes.
Okay.
But, and then there's also things I'll watch just to keep up with what's happening. Like, the new stuff I'll watch because I want to keep up with the industry as a thing I might be involved in 10 years' time. So yeah, but I rarely watch just for entertainment anymore. That's what I've realized. Watching movies for me is kind of boring. Like, I'm not excited to watch. I haven't. Cause there's some. Like,
Sounds so much like an addiction. Oh my gosh. That's
No.
cool.
What?
Yeah.
Explain.
You have an escape, and it's not necessarily unhealthy at first, but really it is. And then it gets to a point where first it starts off, no, I'm not going to do that. It's not okay. Then eventually, whatever, it makes its way in, and then you're influenced by it. You're influenced by it. You're influenced by it. And it takes so much of it in that it's it's like, oh, I don't even get enjoyment out of this anymore. But for educational purposes, because I want to keep up with it, I have to be more involved.
I can't argue with that. But it's still not 100% accurate. Like, I can't argue with the fact that it does sound like that and does kind of resemble that. But I know it's not that.
It's not an addiction.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I was just saying.
You just saw the resemblance.
Yeah.
No, that is fun. That is funny to me now. I'm making it funny.
I don't necessarily think watching movies is an addiction. I think it's.
Also,
I do think it's an escape, though. I definitely I hold by that.
Do it. Like, I don't.
For sure starts as.
No, 100%. It for sure was.
Or for sure, I don't know for sure.
It was for sure.
In a lot of cases,
it was a combination of things, I think.
So I'll give you.
I think it was. It was probably because I needed an escape. It was also because I was feeling left out of stuff. I was like, I need to know stuff. I felt like I didn't know, because I didn't know people. Like, what did people talk about in Mesivta? People talked about other people, like friends and like stories that things that happened.
Lots of Lashon Hara in Mesivta. Yeah.
People talked about sports.
Yep,
I did not know sports. I liked sports.
Lots of sports.
Wasn't good at sports. I didn't play a lot of sports, but I definitely did not know enough to talk about. And then people talked about culture and movies and stories like that. And I'm like, I could do that. That's something I could catch up on. Like I had a chavrusa in sheer bass, I think. He would just quote movies at me the entire day. I'd be like, "Whoa, that's so cool," and I'd have no idea what he was talking about because I've never seen any of these things before in my life. That's not true, but like I'd be like, "Oh, that's I'd never, yeah, this is all his fault." Let's do that. Let's just blame him on that.
Another comparison with addiction. So I'll give you my background in this regard, just to see.
I'm interviewing you. Shut up.
I went to cheder with, and one of my favorite rabbis, especially when I got old enough to have a conscious mind, like whatever, third, fourth, fifth grade, was very chassidish, very, very, very like what I would call mainstream, like very, very intense on the religious stuff and the very, very chassidish stuff. So I grew up with very similar, like we just don't do that. Not really any explanation, but I'm very much a leader type of personality. I don't really conform to what's going on around me. I kind of do my thing, almost regardless of what I'm told. If I choose to listen to someone, then I'll listen to them. But it's not just automatic that this is what we do. Oh, okay, no. As I got older, I'm like, okay, nothing wrong with watching movies at all. So I watched a few movies, whatever. It didn't really make a difference to me. Like some random examples, like Cars, great movie, love that, great classic.
See,
all the Minions.
That was one of those things I watched as a kid. So.
All the Minions, all these stuff, like great movies. The Incredibles, awesome movie. Finding Nemo, like you name it. As a kid, I'm like, these are great. I don't think it ever came up necessarily as a conscious thought, but I never thought, oh, this is bad for me.
It's bad for me. Sorry.
And I think whatever, where I'm going with this, maybe it won't be, you see the connection, but as I got older, I just didn't watch movies because I didn't care to. I had other stuff I was doing. Like it's been mentioned, I have a lot of hobbies. I didn't really need to watch movies. I did watch a lot more YouTube videos, not like, I don't know, people have different definitions of what YouTube means. Not the shorts, but like, I had my big escape when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, wow, that is probably the dumbest statement I've made in quite a while.
But you're also not a teenager anymore.
I'm still 19. That is wow! I can't believe that I just said that. That's crazy. When I was a teenager.
I'm still a teenager.
Oh gosh, no!
We're still teenager.
Back when I was a kid.
Dun,
oh man!
dun,
all right.
Dun. Anyways,
my escape growing into who I am now was a video game. One particular video game. So I'd watch YouTube on that video game. Content creators, how to get better at it, etc. So that was like, I guess, my replacement for movies in a way. I had a couple friends who also played the game, so I grew up in a very, very small town with a very small community. I had two classmates in fourth grade. That's the fourth grade is when they divided the girls and the boys. So up until third grade, I had, I think the biggest class I ever had, which was third and fourth grade together, was 10 kids. And when I was in fifth grade, then it was me, my two classmates, and then the grade above us. Sixth grade, it was also 3 kids, so it was 6 total. My 8th grade year, I was the 8th grade. The guy below me was the 7th grade. The guy below him was the 6th grade. And there were two fifth graders, one of which was a 4th grader that got bumped up. So it was 4 kids in one class with one Hebrew teacher and one English teacher.
Insane.
Make a long story short, not a great scenario. I ended up going to Chicago in a yeshiva, not mixed boys and girls, but mixed like different ethnicities is definitely not the right word, but like Polishers,
sects of Judaism.
Yeah, let's for sure. Like it was a very diverse situation.
Term, I think.
That's where I started drums. There was a teacher there, Mr. Cantor, great teacher, great teacher. He's very talented. He's a very talented musician. he tried to teach me notes, even though drums have notes. By the way, I just want to make that clear. Drums do have notes. I just didn't learn them at all. He tried to teach me notes, didn't work, but he taught me some basics, and I learned the rest of my. Other than that, I'm self-taught. Where was I going with that? That's just a fun fact. I had a very very lonely cheder life. Also, as I mentioned, there's a family of 10 boys, and they live in Minnesota. They have a farm. So I went to their house every single Shabbos for a year and a half straight. Not even joking. Like, I would take a break once every few months of not going to their house every Shabbos because they were the only friends I had. And what good friends they are! Great, amazing family. I'm so happy. Hashem really
awesome.
blessed me with being able to know them. But fast forward to me coming to Wilkes, I had a terrible, terrible time in Misifta. I hated it. It made no sense to me. Like I said, my personality is kind of like, you're forcing me to do all this random stuff, and you're giving the dumbest reasons for, like, stop pretending. I mean, now I'm like mixing this in with my perspective now, but like, why are you telling me that wearing a white button-down shirt is the difference between me being holy and might as well be a guy? Like, I was flabbergasted when I discovered that Chabad is actually one of the sects of Judaism that focuses on dress the least. And this is actually a question I want to ask you, although it's a separate topic, so maybe we'll come back to it. I had a particular problem with wearing jeans.
As in, you wanted to, or
as in I was wearing jeans, and there's the stigma against them. There's a stigma against a bunch of stuff.
right?
But we can get into that. We can get into that later. The dress code of Lubavitch. I get it to a certain extent, and fine. Next topic. Movies.
Next.
The point is, when I came to Wilkes, I was in this headspace of like barely holding on to some of my Judaism, and everything else was kind of like, this makes no sense. I've been given dumb answers. Thank God I ended up in this yeshiva. I met all the rabbis.
Yeah!
They gave me actual answers to stuff. I was able to find my own path. They gave me space to figure myself out, and Baruch Hashem, I'm in a much better place now. My perspective on movies is this. It is, like you said, they're very, very powerful, which is an interesting idea, because the idea of a movie is very powerful, and this is where the Jewish perspective comes in. But movies as a whole nowadays, especially, and the older, PG rated, PG-13 rated R, etc., terrible for a person.
No, for sure.
Like horrible, and not like in an open way, which makes it worse. Like, it's not obvious how bad a movie. I mean, at least for me, I see a clear difference between where if I were to watch a movie or watch movies, the headspace I would be in, and again, the more R-rated stuff that was happening, the worse it would be. I know this for myself. I'm not saying it's a bad thing necessarily for some people to watch. I know, for example, someone that I've met watches horror movies, and I think this was mentioned before, like with Hill. People watch movies because it's so far from reality that it takes them out of their all that's going on. Yeah, all that's going on in their head. But you're being influenced by the music that's being played in the film. You're being influenced by what you're seeing. You're being influenced by the implications. You're being influenced by the story. Your emotions are going up and down, rocketing up and down. It's all fake. It's all fake. It's all predetermined. It's all created in a certain way. So there's the idea of taking it the right way, which is inspiring people and being able to do it from making it godly.
Exactly.
But the way it's being done now is manipulation, and all done to sell money most of the time. There are exceptions. Mm-hmm. There are exceptions, I think.
Nowadays,
the truth, but here's the thing.
Very small. Light died. Yes.
You want to pause? It died. There's no charging it.
I could put another one.
Do it.
Well, it's already
might as well.
6:42.
Okay, fine.
Just finish up, like.
Fine.
Just. But yeah, no, it's a tough.
I don't watch movies now, so I can't say that for sure. But my hunch is that it hasn't changed. For the vast majority,
it's just gotten worse.
So there are exceptions. I'm not going to deny there are exceptions, 100%. But the overwhelming majority of movies are not. They're not good for a person. Now, there is an example I can clearly point at. There's a movie called... There's a video It was on CDs, but back then.
Back in the day.
I can still say that. This is my line. I can't wait to tell my kids about the smartphones with the home button, the physical button. Like that's how far we've gone. And I imagine telling my grandkids, you remember we had wires once upon a time, like all this.
What?
Crazy. Is I Am a Chassid. That was the video I remember clearly.
Yes.
For sure had a good influence on me. The music, the way the music was performed. It could have been done better. Not going to deny it. Of course it could have been done better, but that's I think a very good example of taking filmmaking, movie making, taking this creative talent that you have and making it godly. It's a Chassidish idea. Again, it depends on how specific you want to get about Chassidus and what and how whatever.
That is I Am a Chassid, Oscar-nominated film. There we go. Give it its Oscar.
It's a good example. I don't think it's overall was it that professionally done? No. I think something like Megillas Lester is another great example of the opposite side. That's much more entertainment purposes. Is that a Jewish film?
Which is why I appreciate that film.
Is it a Jewish film? Maybe. Is it godly? I don't know.
Exactly.
Is it okay to watch? For sure, not a question. Is it taking the power of what a movie really is and doing what God would ultimately want, and bringing that Aryan Seif and revealing it? You take something like I Am a Chassid.
If you take it like that, then yes.
So what do you think about that?
Those films?
I'm using them as examples for concepts.
Of
the original question was, how do you make filmmaking? How do you take that creative aspect, that creative talent, and make it godly?
Make it godly?
So I'm giving examples of something that I can see as an example of something godly.
I'm still trying to figure that out. That's a really big part of this.
Just this disclaimer. I want to make this very clear because I think I know I'd get triggered by this if I were watching me say this and I didn't know who I was. I am not saying that I don't watch movies. I'm not a perfect person. I don't think that if you watch movies you're bad. I don't think that if you watch Megillas Lester that, oh my gosh, not at all. This is so far. I'm talking in an altruistic, perfect scenario. What could we be working towards as an idea?
Idealistic.
I want to make that absolutely clear. I am not speaking from I'm on this level and you're not. No, not at all. Not at all.
Listen, I think we should wrap up, but the point in response to that, I think, I really don't know. I'm really trying to figure out how to. I want to nail it. I want to figure out it to science. I don't think that's possible. I don't think there's going to be a science to it. I want to get close as I can. But at least for now, this is entirely for me. Because I'm not creating it on that level yet. So right now, just on a consumer level, on a personal level, it's really not crazy difficult to just freaking fly. I need to smack it. I need to get it before dinner. But I'll end off on this. You can find it yourself. If you watch Megillas Lester, if you're watching any of these films that could possibly be godly, it's up to you to really take it that way. Because art, at the end of the day, is subjective. It's all the way you perceive it. If you have a bad perspective going in, it'll make it worse. If you have a good perspective, you may be able to still come out of it.
I plead the fifth.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you actually might have to. I thought you would have a response.
No, I do have a response. I plead the fifth. I don't want to.
Oh, you have a lot of response. Okay. Until next time. Then.
Part 2 coming soon.
Maybe.
We're
back in town. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
This was Incredible. Honestly, this is the kind of conversation I'm supposed to be having on this.
Elchanan moved in, and 5 minutes later, he's setting up, panicking. His light turned off. I feel bad.
Yeah, I apologize for that. For all my 10 listeners out there, I'm sorry.
One day.
One day
You'll
I'll
be
get 10 listeners.
And that's comedy. That's good.